suddenly could not have happened on the 21st of June, Mullahs. This sudden realization that this great injustice has been done, Mullahs. Obviously, this was planned. Mullahs, if anybody had any grievance of this nature, it would be in public statements, it will be in organizational meetings. After all, this is from 2018, we are in 2023 now, Mullahs. Not a single statement anywhere. So obviously, and what this statement is being made from Assam. Why Assam? So it's not something, it's all pre-planned, it's a conspiracy. It's not something that happened overnight. And you're talking about poll promises. Let me, Mullahs, talk of history then. Mullahs, the poll promise was broken at the time when Mullahs, Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar were sworn in the early hours of the morning by the governor. What about that poll promise? So let's not go into politics.
I was just going to say that now you are trenching into politics.
No, but this is all politics.
You're now leaving the area of constitution.
No, I know. But Mullahs, I said it in the context of the grievance that he has made. He has made a grievance of poll promise.
No, we are not at all, Mr.
Yes.
So
Mullahs, let's go. That's why I said we are. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but therefore, Mr. Sibal, ultimately, I mean, we're just sort of pushing your argument to its logical conclusion in constitutional terms.
Yes.
Therefore, what you are saying is that, look, when Eknath Shinde was nominated as a group leader and the whip was then nominated, the whip was also notified, it was at the behest of the party, albeit at the MLA's meeting.
Correct.
An alteration of that position was made at the meeting which was chaired by Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. The legislators could not have either abstained from the meeting, which was convened by the party president, nor could the legislators have replaced the whip or the group leader.
That's correct.
So that all that they did was really therefore was contrary to law and therefore invited a disqualification under the 10th schedule. All this really then leads us to this, that therefore they have incurred
the disqualification.
They have incurred a disqualification.
That's correct.
Now, having said that, therefore, this is a case where the speaker has to ultimately decide upon the disqualification which they have incurred, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I understand.
That is, Mr. Sibal, that is an area which we are not able to come to bridge.
I will, Mullahs, I will. Yes. Yes, I made that argument. Yes. I will try and, Mullahs.
Of course, the constitutional position of the speaker to decide.
Mullahs, I tell your lordship the problems in that area. But kindly
just problems in the area, we see that. But also we understand the significance of the point which you have made, which is a very significant point for constitutional democracy, that ultimately the party is supreme.
Yes.
And legislators get there into the House or the Parliament or the Legislative Assembly on the mandate of the party, what the party means to the people.
Correct.
Therefore, you are really elected as a representative of the party. Your behavior must be governed by what the party dictates.
Yes.
And a group of legislators, whether you are 1/3 or 1/10 or even 75%,
that's right,
cannot be really determinative of the wishes of the parties. You can alter that position if the party authorizes you, or you leave the party.
Correct.
So far, so good. I mean, that's a very significant point which you have made. But
I understand.
The next point. I mean, what is the consequence?
Yeah, I will, but I'll attempt.
Which you are really telling us that, look, the facts stare you in the face. Now, why go to the speaker?
Yes, that's what my submission is. What is it that the speaker is going to do in this?
It could be twofold. One, as you say, well, the speaker himself cannot be trusted as an impartial arbiter.
I withdraw that, because we are talking about the constitutional position.
That's right. The second would be where the facts are so clear.
Yeah.
Then you take the decision with the speaker ought to have decided that there is only one and one conclusion.
That's right.
That, Mr. Sibal, honestly, that is a matter of disquiet for speaking for myself. I mean, should the court be taking into that, entering into that area? That's an area of...
Lordships have been persuaded in the past. I hope to persuade you in the future as well.
It has very serious ramifications, just as the ramifications...
I will address your Lordships on that.
The ramifications which you have referred to for constitutional democracy, if individual legislators start bucking the party discipline, Really, there are very serious ramifications if we start taking over these functions.
Very
you know.
dangerous.
No, Mullahs, what happened was,
Very,
in one particular case, which is the Constitution bench, Mullahs, where they said that this illegality cannot be continued even for a day. So we will take the decision.
because
They are occupying the post of the minister. This cannot continue even for a day. I will not send it back. We will
right
declare.
or wrong, this is the system which we have now assumed to ourselves as we the people. And when the courts try and breach the system, it's a very
No, Mullahs, I understand.
that's what is worrying us. I mean,
Mullahs,
put it to you right up at the forefront.
Quite frankly, a constitutional court should be worried, because if you create this as a precedent, it can happen in other situations as well, and that not be a good precedent. But I am not disputing that. Please, I'm not, I know the limitations of a constitutional court. I know that, Mullahs. But what has happened in this case, unfortunately, is that this has happened because of a judicial order. This would never have happened.
All right, we also go to this extent that, if a situation transpires because of a judicial order, we are not saying that it has.
Yes,
we are
I
for the-
understand that.
for
I
testing
understand.
your argument.
Yes.
And therefore, it's the duty of a court to rectify a
That's-
situation which emerges as a result of its own order.
That's right.
All right. In various other contexts, we always say active
You have said that in
scrutiny,
several judgments, Mullahs.
neminem gravibit.
Yes.
But assuming that is so,
Yes.
and we place ourselves in the position in which the court was, say, immediately before the 27th,
Yes.
what would the court then have done? That, look, let the speaker decide. Keeping aside the issue of 2-day or 7-day notice.
Yes.
Let the speaker decide.
Yes.
So if we have to restore the position as it would have been, but for that order of the 27th, we would have said, let the speaker decide.
Yes.
Possibly, your argument would be, until the speaker is deciding, no trust vote. Let them take a decision first, and then, because the trust vote.
Because everything helped there after that happened because of this order.
But therefore, if you have to restore the situation as it stands immediately before the interim order of this court, we can restore it by saying that, well, the speaker has to take a decision
Right,
as
as
of
of
that date.
date.
Yes.
Had they incurred a disqualification.
Yes.
But it would be very difficult for us to take over that function.
Mullahs, I don't mind, Mullahs. Let that deputy speaker decide. I have no problem with that. That's what happened in
Therefore, which deputy speaker?
the speaker, Mullahs, who was denied the right to continue with the disqualification. This has happened in the other case.
So then we restore a putative state of affairs.
Yes,
which
your
is
lordships have done
completely
that.
overtaken by events.
In Nabam Remia, your lordships have done exactly that. Exactly that. Because when I argued this before the Constitution bench then, I said, Mullahs, what is happening is you let things happen, and then you will tell me later that we can't reverse it. He said, no, we will reverse
Mr.
it.
Sibal, then you support Nabam Rebia's course of action when it suits you. And when Nabam Rebia is creating a problem, you wanted to
No,
refer
Mullahs,
to
that's
larger
because there are
bench.
two different issues in Nabam Remia, Mullahs.
All right.
Well, I'm sorry, Mullahs. You can't put that
No,
argument.
we're not at all.
There are two different issues. Mullahs, in fact, I was wondering when your lordships are going to decide to refer it to 7, because this is a real problem. Because that's intrinsically at the heart of the matter, which is why I said you take it up as a preliminary, Mullahs, submission, Mullahs, because ultimately this can only be decided.
But Mr. Sibal, look at the consequence. You today have a speaker. You have a speaker in a democratically elected house. Tomorrow you may have a speaker in parliament. Can the Supreme Court say, sorry, we are now overriding the mandate of this speaker? We will retrace our steps back to say now something which is 8 months ago, restore a speaker who is now no longer holding the office of the speaker, and we tell you, we now decide that somebody is the speaker.
He is still deputy speaker.
Huh?
He is still deputy speaker.
And ask that
But he's
speaker or
still deputy speaker,
to take a consequence. I mean,
He is still deputy speaker. Mullahs, all right. Well,